Welcome to Real Talk with
Arieta
and
and
Sera.
So to tell the people what we
Tell the people.
today,
Well,
it's sensational.
people, we had an amazing talk with one of my best friend Julia, who is here on holidays from San Diego. She is an amazing woman, and we're really lucky to have had her today.
She spoke about how she's navigated through some things in life and her career. It was a very timely conversation for me to be having, especially as a young woman.
There's something for everyone in today's talk.
Everyone.
When it comes to, your career, when it comes to moving overseas, when it comes to, coming across difficult situations in your life, whether it's in your career or not, where your expectations haven't been met and you feel really let down because you've achieved a certain goal that you've set for yourself and the outcome was not what you expected it would be. Yeah, so I think today's talk has been really fulfilling, really heartwarming, but I think really important for our audience as well. It's something different.
And everyone will find something different in it to encourage themselves.
Yeah.
For a lot of it, I was like mute. It's almost like I didn't have a voice.
I felt so bad because I was like, am I talking too much?
No, but I was just like, I don't know. I'm trying to work on like being a better listener, and I was listening so well today, and I just took so much away.
There's a lot to process, guys.
Come with an open mind. Make sure that you set yourself some time to be intentional when you watch the episode, because again, there is something to encourage everyone.
I would really love for you to talk about your experience in leaving the nest, leaving home, coming here, and then making the leap to London, with a special focus on that big leap to London, because I know it was a big dream of yours, and then it happened, and I'll let you tell the rest.
Yeah, interesting. So I think one of the things I've continually noticed is that your perception of when a door closes, or in the way in which a door closes, you really never know what's going to come after that. And I remember in my grad program, I finished the grad program, and the end of my time in Auckland, I started looking for jobs in Sydney, and I was very nervous about that because it was my first move, and it was where my dad lived, and at that time we were still working on our relationship with one another. And so I got this role in a market research agency over in Sydney, and I made the move. And for the first 6 months, like when I first moved over, I moved in with my dad. So that made life a lot easier. So the first move to Sydney wasn't too bad. I still had a lot of my rose-tinted glasses on, I would definitely say.
Yes.
I was very much just like did as I tried to do as much as I told, and kind of moving through just work. So I moved into a different healthcare advertising agency, and that was an interesting journey in itself. There's been the Me Too movement, and unfortunately I experienced my own version of sexual harassment within the first 2 weeks. Again, these are things you don't expect to hit in your career. Like, I was 24 years old, and I have to say to you, when I went forward and I told this CEO and the head of strategy about what had happened to me in that workplace, and I knew that they both had daughters. I was closer in age to their daughters than I was to them, and I was coming forth and I was telling them about how a senior strategist had done this, and I just had to watch them say, "Oh, but he didn't break any laws."
Oh hell!
But he didn't break any laws. So you guys just won't be in the same room. You won't have to sit in the same room as him, and you won't have to work on the same project as him. And I just sat there and I was like, "Is that it? Is this okay?"
How did that affect you?
It really, it also made me recognize that I'm disposable. I'm completely dispensable. And again, it's humility. It's knowing that that is just a reality of working. It's not anything to take, again, that one I took personally, but in the grand scheme of things, that situation, it could have made or broke me, and I was the one that was going to decide that. But I had to go into myself and be like, okay, that's fine. It's really important for me to respect my leaders, and we're at a crossroads here, and I'm going to be honest to myself. And even though I'm only 24 years old and these guys are 50 something and I'm going to be like, actually, this is when I step away. I did my whole CV, and I was like, again, the worst thing that's going to happen is I get a no. So I applied, like, I'm not even kidding you. I was like, all right, let's go San Francisco, Singapore, Shanghai, London. I just was like, yo, okay, apply. Like, I just went for it because I was like, to be honest with you, I was so afraid of moving overseas because I was afraid of bad things happening. And when this happened to me on my home soil, with my dad, I had my dad around me, I had good friends around me, I had a lot of support and beautiful people that I worked with. I was like, hold, Julia, you are silly. Bad things can happen to you anywhere.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I heard back from HP, the company I work for now, for a job in London. I honestly didn't really apply for the job. I had picked up the phone and the recruiter told me that I had applied for a job in HP, and I was like, oh. And they're like, it's for London. I was like, oh. And they're like, so what made you apply? And I was like, well, I didn't say no. Like, I didn't say you couldn't, because it was for a job that, okay, I'll go back. So the odds were really stacked against me for this, because it was an insights manager role for United Kingdom and Ireland that was all about understanding, like, the cultural context of the UK.
Wow.
So I'm from New Zealand. I have a British passport. I have lived and worked both in New Zealand and Australia, but this was a strategic planning, like,
it was a big role.
It was a big role in a country that I obviously hadn't lived in, and I was, I don't know, I have no idea. So I had 5 interviews, and it took 6 weeks, and it was
it.
Yeah, and then I got,
got it.
And then I got it.
Incredible story.
Yeah, and then I left 2 weeks later. Life, I know this is so cliche. Life is what you make it. But in so many instances when things have happened, I have recognized the fact that it is not the incident per se that limits what can happen afterwards. It's how you deal with it. Like, and I'll move into the next example of this so I moved to London, and again, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, oh my gosh, London is amazing. It's gonna be the best thing ever. I'm gonna love it.
I was like there with my pom-pom.
Yeah, like,
love
yeah, it's gonna be and so, like, that lasted for maybe like 3 months.
What happened there?
Okay, so this is one. I'm a sample size of 1. Like, my opinions come out of just my experiences alone. So I want to be really mindful of not to bag on the city, because other people will have had different experiences.
Yeah.
It stretched me in ways that made me understand that I was out of kilter. Like, I was off balance. I was pulling too hard into the city life, and I wasn't nourishing enough my nature, my culture, my collectivist mindset, my community. Like, I wasn't able to touch into those core areas of what makes me me and what brings me joy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really dawned on me, and what the core insight for me is that, London is an abundance of luxuries and a starvation of necessities. And what I mean by that is there's everything you could ever hope for to fill yourself up. You want to go and see a theater, you want to go out on a Monday night, you want to go to, like, a breakfast club at 7 a.m. You want to go on, like, an R&B brunch and have that go all day. Like, you want to go to Portugal, you want to go to Budapest. Like, there is everything at your doorstep. But if you haven't looked after your foundations, you are filling an empty bucket, man. Like, you are just piling in more and more and more. And I was like, for me, and what I need is joy in my days. So I don't want to go and live my life where I'm hanging out for my holiday, I'm hanging out for my dinner party, I'm hanging out for a night out. Like, I want to live in my days and love my days, because that is the majority of our, like, waking time. There was this disconnect again, and this tension between, like, whoa, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and da-da-da-da-da. It's also completely humbled me, because now I go into things and I definitely have a more mellowed approach and just a more open approach, because I know what happens when you hold yourself up to expectations and they don't meet them. But it's like, why are you going into it with that anyway?
There was a major shift in you when you decided that you were out.
Yeah.
big shift.
I no longer was trying to force myself into a box which wasn't meant for me. And I think that is something you have to be courageous to do that too, because again, society's going to tell you, take this path, do this, go be that. Aren't you meant to be this? Aren't you meant to be that?
Especially when you like succeed and you make you're like, woohoo, I've made it, and then it's like pop.
Yeah.
And you've got to kind of like, I think it does take courage to go back on that and go, you know what? It was awesome, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Next. Thank you for the experience. Next.
And again, an interesting thing was I had this conversation with my boss, and I kind of let him know where I was at. And I sort of said, this place holistically just isn't quite for me. And I obviously said, like, my job is for London and it's for the UK. I need to go home. I need to go back towards home and kind of just think about where I want to be for my own well-being. And like, I was so surprised at what happened next. Like, my company HP actually ended up saying that they didn't want me to leave, and what could they do for me to stay, and be able to stay with the company. And so they said, well, what about San Diego? And I never thought I would.
She was like, hey, this is what they said. I was like, take it.
So basically, like, everything, like, she's my consultant. You said follow the string.
Yes.
You said follow the string.
Just one bit at a time.
Yeah, follow the string. Didn't see that one coming, but and I still, and again, I'm so incredibly like blessed and grateful. And
I was like, ask for this and ask for that and ask for this. And she's like, should I?
And I was like, yes. She was savage. She was so savage, and I was like, I love it. I was like, but like,
and here she is on the break that she negotiated.
Yeah. Exactly.
Being like who we are as Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you've come up against, and what are some of the key takeaways or insights you think are worth sharing?
I'm gonna say some things that have surprised me actually, and one of them is that there is dollar value to our spirits. Now that might sound quite strange, but our bubbly, warm, caring, colorful, like laughing, our positivity, that is worth its weight in gold. And I don't think we understand that enough. Like I never thought I was, so I work in tech, and I never thought I was smart enough to be in IT or to be in tech. I was like, there's no way, like, that's where all the smart white people go. Like, that's like no way. Because I don't know any other, again, I don't know any of the Pacific Islanders that work in, I don't know many other, if any other. But when I recognize that some of the value add is more of your human elements than it is necessarily like engineering or this and the other, it's your ability to understand humans and your ability to bring forth that human lens. Like, oh wow, now I get it. Like, so much of what we naturally have within us has to be taught to others.
Yeah, right.
I think some of the challenges per se, I think knowing how to balance between listening to feedback and understanding feedback, and knowing again when the feedback is still coming from a flawed human being, because all of us are flawed, right?
Yeah.
Every single person on this planet is flawed and is running through their own cognitive biases. So you have to also be able to hold your own and be open and willing to listen to everything that comes in, right, naturally, but also go, hold on, that's not meant for me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tells me more about you than it tells me about where I need to improve.
Yeah, and I think that is an insight of trusting yourself and knowing that all of you is valid, all of you is worthy, all of you is good enough, and all of you deserves the right to be accepted. I think that has got to be one of the strongest insights I've had. The final one I would say, and this is probably something that I personally believe in, is just the value of being a learner. Like, if you're a learner, you're good, y'all. Like growth, learning, openness, this has got to be like one of the most fundamental things. And not everyone has it.
No.
Not everyone has it. Not everyone is just like naturally curious and like wants to get to know
And
something.
just open. And I think it's a
Open.
big part of it is humility again.
Yeah.
Because like I found that when I kind of fell into the career that I'm in now in communications, I didn't have a degree for that, wasn't qualified to do it, but what got me through the door was that I just wanted to do everything.
Yeah.
Everything that an intern didn't want to do, I would do it. Everything an assistant didn't want to do, I would do it. Everything that an officer didn't want to do, I just kept moving and grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and learning and learning and learning. I would stay after hours when I could. I mean, I'm not saying like at the expense of your health, obviously, but I would put in the extra hours because I had the end game in sight.
Yeah.
I knew that if I put my head down and I worked hard because I was willing to do the jobs that no one else wanted to do, that at some point something was going to give, and it did.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm going back to uni because
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've reached that point where I can't go further without it.
Do you know what's so funny? It's so funny is that I'm like secretly like, okay, jealous is a negative word, but I'm secretly like, oh man, she's going to uni. Oh, like, damn it, she's got her own like learning time. I'm like, what is it, Ari? Anyway,
And it's a different experience.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I remember doing like trying to go to uni when I was younger, and I just didn't have the capacity.
Yeah.
And now with life experience, and I have the capacity, and I have to say something that's really important. Money made it possible.
yeah.
When I started earning money that let me breathe and relax, that's when I knew I could go back to uni.
Yeah, so I would say the top 3 learnings would definitely be like our soft skills are just as valuable as hard skills.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that would be number one. Not that would be one. Number 2 would be like you are worthy of acceptance.
Yeah.
In all facets of who you are. Like don't be a bully. Don't put others like. But I don't think any of your viewers are like those people anyway. But you know you are worthy of acceptance, and that goes into your workplace. And then the third one would be is just maintain that learner and that childlike curiosity, and that will set you in such good stead because and I know this from working in tech, the world is moving so fast, so rapidly, and the distances between the changes are so great now that I don't think I'm going to be doing the same job in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I've got to upskill. Every single one of us has to upskill. Every single one of us is going to be forced to change how we understand the world. The thing that annoys me the most when I hear people that are living with this fixed mindset of I am the way I am. I'm like, yo, your brain's plastic, so I'm not talking to you. You cannot sit there and tell me that you are unable to learn new things, because if you go and Google the word neuroplasticity, you're going to find out that your brain is plastic and you're able to rewire it and mold it. And that's just the biggest fallacy. If anyone is ever going to tell you that they're unable to learn new things, it's like, okay, well, and I think, again, because I am so passionate about these things, it becomes very isolating because not everyone has the same view.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find it. I mean, it's easier just to accept the way things are.
Yeah.
This is how the world is. This is my sphere. This is what I do. It is hard for people to open up their mind to realize the world is bigger. The world is changing. You have to change within yourself. But I mean, you can do it in micro ways.
Totally.
In your own life, you can be open to adapting to new experiences, whether it be a new job, whether it be traveling to a new place, whether it be a new relationship. Going into things saying I'm flexible, I'm open, I don't have a fixed mindset to have these expectations. I'm just going to see what happens, and I want to learn along the way. I think that's important.
And so something that I again think is so important is to surround yourself with people with perspective. Perspective is so important. Just to be able to zoom out, zoom in, look at it from this angle, from that angle, to see the world as a wider thing than just what they see in their eyes. That's going to really make or break you to a certain extent. And that's it's unfortunate, but you are, the sum of the top 5 people you spend your most time with. And your conversations, what you're exposed to, what you're seeing, what you're understanding, it doesn't only come from you, right? It's your conditioning of what's happening outside of you. So that's another thing that's is really important.
I wanted to end it as well as if we could all share. You started the 3 insights, or 3 things you have learned through your experience moving through your career. I wanted to open the floor to you, Sarah, to talk about some of the things that you've learned I mean, even if it's just in this conversation.
Yes. Top 3. First one would be like hearing you speak about foundation, right? And how it's so important that realistically, like when I go into work gets who I am. And who I am has so much to do with the things that I value most in life. So for me, like my partner and I always talk about this, is that I always feel so like discombobulated when my foundation isn't right. So my foundation includes like, is my spiritual life in check? Am I training enough in terms to like build my physical health? Like there are so many things those things that so often we are easy to dismiss are so fundamental in every aspect of our life, because if our foundation isn't right, like it's biblical, right? Like if your foundation isn't right, nothing's going to be right. So I think foundation was one of the biggest things I took away from when you were speaking. Second is friendships, the value of your two friendship, and like seeing how much you have relied on each other, and not just having all the friends, but having a friend. Like I'm talking single here, like I'm talking 1, 2. You know, like I heard a sermon last year. It's like if you have one friend that you can walk through life with in every season, like you are blessed. And it's so true. Like for myself, like I have many friends, but I only have like a certain few that I feel can like bear the weight of the things that matter most to me, or so sacred to me. And so like seeing how you two interact and the depth of your friendship is so inspiring. Like as a 23-year-old woman, I'm like, that's what I want. And I know that with some of my friends, I'm in the process of building something like that. So friendships is another one. And the third one would be just who you are as a person. Who you are as a person is the biggest part of the equation. Is this so important? Like and like how you said, like when you open your mouth, remember that all that you are is valid. All that you are is worthy. Like that is just so what I needed to hear, is that like when I speak from a place and I'm teary or it hurts me, it's not because I'm overreacting.
No,
it's because it's valid.
Another insight was just seeing how our stories and us just talking so casually about it has such an impact on you. And I think that it's because our stories really do matter. And I think that it's important that we have these conversations more often.
And I definitely want to like open that to if anyone has any like questions and queries, especially.
Yes, we love questions.
We
love feedback.
But advice, want to have a conversation, want to know that they're like welcome to reach out, because again we are few and far between. And I think that's another thing, is like how like we are a beautiful culture, we are a beautiful group of people, and looking out for one another, nourishing one another, cherishing one another, supporting one another, like that's just so important.
And that's
beyond fickle, fake, likes this, that, and the other, like beyond that stuff.
I know, we need to stop now before it starts branching into other things.
You're coming back again. You're coming back to real talk.
we can take real talk worldwide. You guys can come visit me.
Absolutely.
You know, I wouldn't be mad about that.
We would love to.
We would love to. So
love you. We love you. Thank you for watching.